Hi everyone, welcome to the Celebrity Diaries. Paul Muni, a notable figure in American satire and amusement, made a permanent imprint on the universe of humor and social critique, with a profession crossing a very long line, while Muni's fluence stretched out a long way past his function as a comic, enveloping his jobs as an essayist, social pundit, and entertainer. At the hour of his passing in 2021, his total assets were assessed at $500,000. This figure, however humble in correlation with a portion of his peers, mirrors a lifetime devoted to testing cultural standards and engaging crowds with his sharp mind and significant bits of knowledge. Paul Muni conceived Paul Gladney on August 4, 1941 in Shreveport, Louisiana, arose as one of the most powerful voices in American satire, known not just for his sharp mind, but also for his profound comprehension of social issues raised by his folks. Lavoya and George Gladney Mooney's initial years were set apart by a huge move to Oakland, California, at the point when he was only 7 years of age. It was in Oakland that Mooney spent quite a bit of his early stages, principally under the consideration of his grandma A.E., who played a significant role in forming his childhood as he became older. Lobby Gladney, see to re-examine himself, embracing the last name Money from the prestigious Hollywood entertainer Paul Muni, a choice that foreshadowed his own future in the diversion industry. This name change represented his want to produce his own personality in a world that would come to know him as a pioneer in parody. Mooney's excursion into the universe of parody started in the 1970s when he began composing for other humorists, rapidly laying down a good foundation for himself as a capable and keen essayist. His enormous break came in 1972 when he wrote 3 episodes of the famous TV sitcom Sanford and Son, a show that was both a social standard and a basic achievement. This open door set the stage for Mooney's productive vocation as a satire essayist. 2 years after the fact, Mooney kept on transforming TV by composing for the earth-shattering sitcom Great Times. His work on these shows featured his capacity to mix humor with social discourse and expertise that would characterize his vocation. Quite possibly, of the most critical achievements in Mooney's vocation was his organization with the unbelievable jokester Richard Earlier. The two first teamed up in 1975, when Mooney composed a few of Earlier's representations for an episode of Saturday Night Experience. That Earlier facilitated this organization was an ideal match, as the two men shared a courageous weight to deal with parody, frequently tending to subjects like race disparity. Also, the African-American involvement with ways that were both provocative and engaging. Mooney's work with Earlier stretched out past TV. He added to the Richard Earlier Show a brief yet compelling theatrical presentation that exhibited Earlier's comedic virtuoso. Also, Mooney's composing ability, their joint effort, wasn't bound to the little screen. Mooney likewise showed up close by Earlier in the 1977 film Which Way Is Up, and the 1981 satire Bust and Free, the two of which highlighted Earlier in driving jobs. Notwithstanding his work with Earlier, Mooney and took on a huge job in the 1978 anecdotal film The Amigo Holy Story, where he depicted the notable vocalist-lyricist Sam Cooke. This job showed Mooney's flexibility as an entertainer during the 1980s. Paul Muni proceeded to solidify his inheritance as a spearheading figure in parody by promoting his coordinated effort with Richard Earlier, the comic with whom he shared a profoundly innovative bond. One of his remarkable commitments was to the kids' series Earlier's Place, a show that looked to mix humor with life illustrations in a manner that was open to more youthful crowds. In spite of its objective segment, Earlier's Place primary main the sharp W.I.D. and That's What Social discourse portrayed quite a bit of Mooney's work, mirroring his capacity to tailor his comedic voice to various organizations without losing its edge. Mooney's composition ability was additionally shown when he co-composed the content for Earlier's parody collection, Live on the Dusk Strip. Moon's commitment to this venture was pivotal, helping Earlier channel his aggravation and encounters into a presentation that was, however impactful, as it might have been interesting. There, the composing and acting coordinated effort went on with the film. JoJo Artist, Your Life is Calling, a semi-self-portraying film that investigated the life of an effective entertainer, hooking with the outcomes of his decisions. Money Company composed the screenplay, indeed helping Earlier art a story that was profoundly private yet generally interesting. As the 1990s moved toward Money extended his impact in the realm of TV by filling in as the head writer for the main time of the Keeney Ivory Wayne's sketch parody show. In living variety, this show turned into a social peculiarity known for its intense and frequently dubious representations that tended to race, class, and governmental issues in a manner that was both silly and intriguing. Unfiltered and full of life, not just given a stage for Mooney's gnawing humor, but likewise made ready for future joke artists. Furthermore, authors who might keep on pushing limits in the years to come. Cash's abilities were not bound to composing. He additionally showed up on screen during this period in Eddie Murphy's 1987 parody. Hollywood Mix. Cash played the leader of the NAACP, a job that permitted him to infuse his brand name humor into a film that condemned Hollywood's cliché depiction of African Americans. This job was a forerunner to the sort of ironical work that Cash would become known for, mixing humor with a basic assessment of the amusement industry. Then he showed up in The Conflict, Parody in the Military, presently featuring Pauly Shaw and Andy Dick, where his presence added a layer of mind to the film's happy tone. He likewise featured in the parody High Recurrence, close by John Witherspoon and Marcus Chong, further laying down a good foundation for himself as a flexible comedic entertainer. Anyway, it was his job in Spike Lee's 2000 parody. Swindled really highlighted Mooney's capacity to tackle serious social issues through satire. In the film, he played the dad of Damon Wayans' personality, contributing to a story that scrutinizes the media's double-dealing of African American culture. As Cash entered the new 2000 years, he started to downsize his acting jobs, but still had a tremendous effect with his appearances on Chappelle's show. Cash depicted the person Negrodamus as a comedic bend on the verifiable figure. Nostradamus offering silly yet gnawing expectations and perceptions on race and society. Cash likewise featured in his own show Judge Cash, where he played a non-rubbish judge who apportioned equity with his brand name, humor, and mind. Until 2006, Mooney facilitated a wager extraordinary named the 25 Most Humiliating Minutes in Dark History. A recognition for Dark History Month, the show included Mooney describing and evaluating the absolutely humiliating, dubious minutes, including African Americans mixing humor with verifiable examination. This unique was a sign of Mooney's capacity to address complex and frequently difficult parts of history through satire, empowering crowds to ponder these minutes with both humor and thoughtfulness. The next year, in 2007, Cash delivered his journal Dark as the New White Contribution, a real investigation of his life and profession. The diary fundamentally zeroed in on his drawn-out proficient relationship with Richard earlier, giving experiences into their joint efforts and the effect they had on one another's lives. Cash likewise dove into his life as a youngster, uncovering the encounters that molded his perspective. His way to deal with satire was not only a reflection on Mooney's vocation, yet in addition a discourse on the more extensive social issues he had faced through his work. Years later, in 2016, Cash made a significant appearance in the dark parody spine chiller, Meet the Blacks, where he took on the job of a Cluck family part of this projecting. Decision was a striking and provocative articulation displaying Mooney's readiness to draw in with awkward subjects and transform them into amazing open doors for humor and social critique. Straightaway Deserted House. How about we investigate his home currently deserted house in Oakland, California in the late 1990s and mid-2000s. Paul Cash made a huge interest in a piece of California land. He bought an unobtrusive 1,316-foot two-story home and set out on a broad remodel project that changed the property into a more roomy and agreeable residing climate. The rebuilt home included 3 rooms and 2 washrooms, taking care of both the necessities of a cutting-edge family and Mooney's craving for a tranquil retreat. One of the champion highlights of the house was its private deck, which offered stunning perspectives on the encompassing woods and rich green spaces. This quiet setting gave the ideal spot to partake in a calm morning espresso, or essentially take in the magnificence of nature. The property was planned with both convenience and reasonableness as a top priority, offering more than adequate stopping choices for visitors, including 2 covered spaces and 1 revealed space. The open kitchen design welcomed imagination, considering unending conceivable outcomes to expand its true capacity, while a strategically placed clothing room added to the home's usefulness. Notwithstanding the smart redesigns and the consideration put into making an agreeable, furthermore, welcoming space, there was an astounding turn to this story later finishing the rebuild. Mooney never, as a matter of fact, resided in the home because of reasons that remain generally obscure. The property was left deserted, bringing up issues and interest in its destiny. The choice to leave the home empty adds a quality of secret to Mooney's relationship with the property. It was essentially an undertaking. Thanks for watching this video.